Welcome, everybody, to the Hardwood Hoops Hangout. Got my man Meek Mill, 1981, and I'm your man Pete Toll. We're going to roll through a little bit of a late edition here. We're getting started just after midnight on the East Coast. Wanted to wait on the Final Four games to finish up before we got started. Meek, what did you think of the Final Four games? Let's start with the Villanova game.
Oh, it was terrible. It was a complete blowout. It was awful. And I was expecting two really good games tonight, and what we got was two double-digit losses, one being a 40-plus point blowout, which I didn't expect to happen. I had Oklahoma in the championship game. Even in my bracket, that's the only Final Four team I got. And, boy, did they let me down. And, I understand now. And maybe it's just prisoner of the moment, but I understand why there is people questioning Buddy Hield's upside. I think he's going to be a very good pro, but I see the questioning of his upside because he could not get any shots he wanted tonight. Everything was contested. He couldn't get and the first shot he hit, the game, he kind of pushed off to get open, and that's the only shot he really hit. And then he had a nice little move baseline where he finished, but man, he disappointed me the most tonight because I really thought he'd show up in the biggest of games, and then North Carolina, Syracuse, most people probably pick North Carolina, they don't, which did surprise me. They won, but the championship game, please, let's just hope it's a better game than what we got from the two games.
Let's hope for a Villanova win there.
Yeah. I'm going to make a prediction now. Being an Illinois guy, watching Jalen Brunson, his junior and senior year, play for the state championship. He's the guy who's going to come up big for Villanova on Monday night. Watch. He plays huge in the biggest game, state championship game. His junior year, he dropped 53 on Okafor. They lost because he's the only guy they had, but he had 53 in the state championship game. So watch out for Jalen Brunson to have a huge game. No one's going to expect it.
Okay. For me, I hated to see Buddy Hield struggle just because I wanted him to kind of climb up in the draft rankings because I think, on the spotlight as much as he could. Still think he goes obviously top, 8 picks or so. But it's going to be a struggle for him to get as high as some people, were saying. If he had a good next two games, meaning the Final Four and if he made it to the championship, he could possibly get top 5. I don't see that happening now. With him, like you said, he struggled really bad to kind of get his own shot off, and that was the main thing that everybody looked for. In the NBA, you can't just get to the rim at will. And you can't shoot threes, for days without really go-to moves and a quick crossover, as we've seen, like Steph Curry being able to do. Buddy Hield is nowhere near, the dynamic scorer, that like a Steph Curry or even as I compare him to, like a Brandon Roy type player, being able to kind of come in and do something, on the offensive end. So we'll see there. Unfortunately, UNC wins. I'm a Duke fan, so just the worst thing that could happen for me. I think in the championship game, Villanova being able to shoot 58% as a team, 39%, from 3. I think that their main point that they're going to have to focus on against North Carolina is keeping North Carolina off the offensive boards. If they can do that, then they have a shot to beat UNC, which I hope happens. I think it's going to be a fairly close game. I'm just going to say maybe 68-61 Villanova, just to throw something out there.
If North Carolina plays D the way they did tonight, Villanova, as well as they shoot the basketball, they do have a really good chance because Syracuse does not shoot it well. I mean, they couldn't even make a free throw tonight.
Right.
Every time they went up to the line, it was brick. Guys were just shooting bricks from 3, short. They just could not shoot. If Villanova gets those shots, guys like Hart and Brunson, those guys can knock down shots.
Right.
So if Villanova gets the looks that Syracuse got tonight, North Carolina's in trouble. And I think Roy Williams is an overrated coach.
Oh yeah, I know you're disdain
that guy's
for
a terrible coach.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't like him, and it has nothing to do with North Carolina. I didn't like him at Kansas either. Paul Pierce, and all those guys. You got Paul Pierce, Ray LaFrentz, all those. You can't win. Get out of here. Then he inherited Doherty's team at North Carolina when he won his first title. That wasn't his team.
Yeah,
That's
I like
all
Jay
I got
Wright
to
as
say
a coach,
about
though.
him.
I want him to.
Yeah,
I want him to succeed. So I just like his mentality and like I said, with Villanova, I want them to beat UNC just for the simple fact that I hate UNC. So we'll see. It'll be a good game Monday night, I hope, and I hope it's better than these last two games that we've had to kind of suffer through, to say the least.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk a little NBA. Want to roll right into the biggest probably topic that hit this week, the Los Angeles Lakers. Oh boy, D'Angelo Russell. Could you screw up even more as an NBA rookie? What are your thoughts as far as what D'Angelo Russell did to Nick Young? For those that have been under a rock, that don't know, basically Nick Young kind of got on tape and admitted to some extracurricular activities, so to speak, with some other women that are not Iggy Azalea, and D'Angelo Russell recorded it and somehow leaked it. What you think, Pete?
Well, first, I think we got to say, apparently this happened. So that came out that it happened 3 months ago. And now I got, there's part of me, we got the whole bro code thing. I'm like, man, this guy totally screwed up. There's no trust. But then I go back and remember, this guy's 20 years old. And let's remember here, the mentality of these guys, like when we were growing up. And I'm not saying we're a bunch of old men, but still, the mentality of this new generation is completely different. You got these dudes out here wearing dresses, and that's hot in the streets. They're dressing like clowns, and that's what's hot. It really, they got a lot of, I say, feminine characteristics to them, and so you have to take that into consideration. I work with, I work in a school. I see teenagers every day. The mentality of these guys, of dudes, is different these days. They will throw their to get ahead, to do what they need to do. You know what I mean? So I think in a way he's getting a lot of unfair treatment, but at the same time I understand it, if that makes any sense. I like what Charles Barkley said. As an NBA family, they got to forgive this guy. He's young. He made a mistake. They got to rally around him, forgive the guy. But at the same time, you can't do what he did. And I know it was a joke and all that good stuff. It was a joke, and apparently I guess he Snapchatted it. He posted the video in Snapchat and then took it down. Well, apparently, I guess somebody copied it. Because it's supposed to be 3 months, but they copied it and waited to leak it.
Yeah.
That's the weird thing about it. Is because it's so old, why wait now? Who has an agenda against D'Angelo Russell? Or maybe they're just trying to make Swaggy P look bad. I don't know.
Gonzo Star on.
Yeah.
Gonzo, what's up, man?
What's going on? How you guys doing, man?
Good, man. Hey, we're just kind of getting started going in on D'Angelo Russell. What's your thoughts, Gonzo?
First of all, I think it's just part of it is D'Angelo Russell being immature. But I just want to ask a question: what guys sit around and talk and recording conversations? Dudes don't do that.
Right.
We don't do that. We talk about what's amongst us, and it stays in the room. It goes no further than. It goes no further than that. It's just like, what was he thinking even recording that conversation? Because even once I heard the video, I'm saying to myself, like, what is the reason he's recording this?
Right. Like, what are you gonna do? Go listen to it in your hotel room? Like, I mean, unless he had the mindset of, all right, fuck this dude, I'm gonna blackmail the hell out of him. Like,
That's the
unless
only
you've
way.
got a shady mindset, like, I mean, for me, you know, all guys sit around and talk about women in one instance or another. Like,
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
nobody goes, all right, let me go rat my boy out. Tell his girl, like, what are you gonna get from that? You think Iggy Azalea was gonna hook up with you because of that? Like, come on now. Like, I
Hey,
mean,
hey, she did thank him for it.
hey, maybe she thanked him in more ways than one, but you know, still,
Yeah,
come on
hey, I'm
now.
telling you, like I said, I don't know if Gonzo heard it, man, but he knows, man. The new generation, their mentality is completely different. Like I said, you got dudes like Will Smith's son. This dude's wearing dresses, and that's what's supposed to be hot in the streets. That's fashion. A dude wearing a dress.
No,
I
that's
mean, you see the stuff
unacceptable.
some of these NBA players walk in these buildings with. Come on, man.
Man, like
You
Russell
can
Like the
get
Westbrook.
your ass
mentality is
shot wearing a
completely
dress as a
different.
dude down where I live. No, that shit ain't gonna fly.
That's what I'm
You,
saying. That's what I'm saying, man. The mentality is completely different.
Like even with the skinny jeans theory, I'm like so against that skinny jeans stuff. Like
nah, I can't do.
There you
Nah,
go.
man.
I'm
Exactly.
not cool with
Exactly.
skinny
That's what I'm
jeans stuff.
saying.
And don't get me wrong, I don't mind khaki pants and I don't mind jeans, regular fit, slim fit jeans. But you start getting skinny jeans, they looking like leggings. No,
Nah.
I'm sorry,
That's
no.
what I'm saying, man. Hey, that's what I'm getting at. That's what I'm getting at. These new dudes, man. I'm telling you, the mentality of the new generation. And I'm with 12 and 13-year-olds all day. It's different. They think just on a completely different wavelength than we ever thought on. Like I said, man, these dudes will throw their boy under the bus, for the dumbest of reasons.
Oh
There is
yeah.
no
But it's just
code anymore.
it's
Like we
also too
talk
like
about the bro code, but that shit don't exist.
no, it doesn't. And see,
There
part of this
is
is
no
too.
code with the young dude.
It's like looking at this now. I'm thinking about it now. Like it just seemed like even back then, like before before dudes even got to the point where they fight and even argue, it wasn't a thing of violence. Most men you would come together first reason like men, like look, this is what needs to change. We shouldn't. Maybe I came at you the wrong way. I apologize. Let's try to work things out. It's like even now,
Right.
the kids now are like so emotional. Like the
Right.
moment somebody say something you don't like or they critique you in a way and you take it as criticism, you're ready to fight because of an opinion. Like that's stupid.
Man,
You
hey,
know what I'm
I
saying?
see it every day. I see
It's
it every
petty.
day.
It's so weak. Like it just shows a sign of weakness. Like nobody can ever have an opinion. Like now everything is now you're hating. Why can't it just be I just dislike something? I'm
Right.
not hating. I
Correct.
just don't like it.
Right. I mean, for me, it's like it goes back to like when I was in high school. Like yeah, you had fights and stuff like that. But for me, I'm like, dude, like, what the fuck's the point? Like they're like, oh, I'm gonna punch you in the face. All right, dude, either swing or get the fuck out of my face. Like if you
Right.
ain't gonna talk about it, like I ain't got time for this. Like you swing, now we got a problem. But I ain't gonna sit there and throw down because dude scuffed up my Jordans or something. Like get the hell out of
It's
here.
petty.
Like
That's petty stuff, man. Like,
but nowadays it's like it's even worse because it's like, oh, so and so, he said this about me. And it's like then dudes are just ready to throw down without even talking about it. And it's like, did you even realize that that dude didn't even say that about you? Like that came from like
no,
three people later that made up something. Like, come on, you know, grow up.
Man, see,
And same thing. It,
I
it's
always
the rookie
remember back.
class.
We Yeah, man. When we used like back in the day when we were coming up, like in high school, 'cause we're all around the same age for the most part.
Mhm.
Like when you saw dudes fight, and I went to a rough school. I won't lie. You weren't fighting because someone called you. You were fighting. It was over money and stuff like that.
yeah, stuff that
That's when
we're
you had a
fighting about,
problem. When you were messing with someone's money, you had a problem.
or stealing from
Stuff
somebody.
like, and of course
Yeah.
you had the little, yeah, you had you dudes and stuff like that who were serious. But other than that, I mean, you didn't have dudes fighting for petty stuff over females.
Right.
yeah, no,
But see, like when I was
That didn't
in
happen.
school, it was like if something happened to where like somebody did steal something from you and you got punked out because you didn't react. Like I had guys that I hung out with that were like, I'll be honest, like scared to fight. And it's like, all right, so you're gonna let that dude steal, shit from you, steal your, jersey or whatever it is you got laying on the ground during pickup basketball. and just walk off with it, you're going to say, oh, never mind. I'm like, no, that shit is not okay. You go get your stuff back. Now, that's something that's a sign of respect. That's different. But when you're going to sit there and go, oh, give me your Jordans just because, you decide to, try to punk somebody, then that's different. But nowadays, it's like just the smallest things and people escalate everything. Or they cry about it.
Called me a name.
You go tattletale. And it's like, that shit don't work either.
That's what happens when everybody gets a trophy.
That's true. That damn commercial where the father scratches off.
Absolutely.
He writes the damn champion on there. Like, everybody don't get a participation trophy. The hell with that. Losers lose and winners win.
That's right.
So,
hey man, if winning and losing wasn't so important in this young age, why are we keeping score?
right.
I just want to know, why do we keep score if winning is not important?
All right, let me ask
winning
both
is
of you guys
everything.
this. So, if you're Nick Young, what do you do in this situation? Gonzo, you go first.
I keep it strictly a professional relationship, only on the court. Outside of the basketball, we have nothing to talk about. I mean, you did this. I mean, you did this. You did, and it's not like this is something minor, like you forgot to pick up a tab at a restaurant when you promised, or you accidentally, I mean, you did something behind doors wrong to me, but you publicized my business and potentially put my relationship with my girl in jeopardy. Like, that's kind of something that's kind of. And I guess the motive behind it is like, dude, you record a basic man-to-man conversation. Like, why would you be doing that? That makes me question all of your intentions. So it's
what you got?
Nothing more than that.
What you got, me?
I totally agree with everything he said. I can't really add much to it. You got to question what he was thinking. Like, if you're Nick Young, yeah, man, you just, hey. I mean, it doesn't even matter on the court. It's not like Nick Young is playing right now, anyways.
Right.
He's been he doesn't get many minutes anyway on the court, but in practice and in the locker room, just they're trying to get rid of him anyways. But I wanted to add this. I wanted to say this. I was thinking about this earlier today, and it just randomly popped in my head again just now. Like, you know how we see these guys? You look at Nick Young, and you see most guys they're playing. Nick Young seems to me to be that guy. He plays basketball because he gets the money. He gets all the. He's a celebrity, He gets all. He could get any. He could probably. I mean, for the let's realistically talk, this dude could get any part. So he really loses nothing out of this, in a sense.
Right.
And he just strikes me as that guy who's doing it, who plays in the NBA for the celebrity reasons, all the perks. He doesn't strike me as a guy, because he's super talented and just never did anything. He just strikes me as a guy who he does it for all the perks. Because we know there are guys in the NBA that's why they love it. They don't really love the game. They just like all the perks that come with being an NBA player. And it happens in football and baseball too, I'm sure. But that's what he strikes me as, that kind of guy. But with that said, him and D'Angelo Russell won't be hanging around at Swaggy P's crib anymore.
Right. I think the biggest thing for me with D'Angelo Russell
really what I like to say about that.
Just as some of his comments he made, it's like, he's saying that he can't force peace. He's got to let time heal it. I get that. That's, realistic. But then they jump in the whole thing. Somebody asked him basically if teammates would get physical, as far as confronting him. He's like, I'd get physical back, all this stuff. And he says that, if a guy disrespects you, you have to bring it. And it's like, dude, how about just saying a flat out, I fucked up. I'm sorry. I just did something stupid in the moment. I know that, Nick Young's going to basically fucking hate me, but at the same time, I'm a man and I can say I did a stupid mistake and leave it at that. Mm-hmm. But to sit there and make all these different, dancing around stuff and, just the young man mentality, it's like, dude, nobody is going to look at you the same. You go into another locker room if the Lakers traded him, and you go to another locker room, people are going to be like, Is this dude going to record me, talking about how sorry of a season we've had, or who knows if he's even recorded other stuff that players have talked about, or Coach Byron Scott or anything. Like, so how is anybody going to trust anything?
One thing to add to this.
That's like when they were. Go ahead.
Even if Nick Young wanted to kick his ass, due to the fact that what D'Angelo Russell did, dude, there's no need to even fight back. Just accept this ass whooping because you knew you were wrong. It's like just out of respect, just take the ass whooping. Like, seriously, because like you knew you fucked up. Like, this is something you shouldn't have done anyway. What are you fighting back for? Like, you already did your fighting back by exposing a confidential conversation. So just take your ass whooping, and maybe that might help Nick Young wounds heal, and you guys could probably win something back. Just accept it. Man.
So but these young dudes don't like to take an ass whooping these days. That's why they all want. That's why you got 15, 16-year-old dudes carrying pistols and stuff. They're afraid to take an ass whooping. So I always harp back. We've all seen the movie Friday.
Yeah.
You have your gun and all that. You use these. You live to fight another day.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right. That's how it should be. But although D'Angelo Russell doesn't strike me as someone who looks like he's strapped.
No.
He doesn't strike me as that type of dude.
Well, moving on to another controversy that kind of hit, the Cleveland Cavaliers shooting guard Amon Shumpert ended up creating what we call Towelgate when he got kind of pissed off in a recent Cavaliers game, threw his towel back, and it landed on head coach Tyronn Lue. Now, I've seen some people defend and say, well, he threw the towel, didn't know Tyronn Lue was back there. I've seen the video. He looks right at him and throws the towel. So, come on, there ain't no damn defending that. What do you guys got to say on that?
Take it, Gonzo.
He shouldn't. First of all, I understand frustration. You don't throw towels at your coach. But, see, this is just a ripple effect, and this is just frustration in the Cleveland Cavaliers organization right now. Yeah, they're winning. They're the best team in the East. But you have problems with leadership from top to bottom. Your leader is like the biggest crybaby in history. Like, seriously, like, somebody please get LeBron a tampon. Like, this dude is like leaking. Like, that's not to be like, to be vulgar, but the dude is like, he's such a crybaby. 6'8", 260 pounds of Charmin tissue.
Damn.
He's responsible for a coach getting fired, who obviously, I think the way Tyronn Lue has a team playing, honestly, they would have done better just keeping David Blatt. At least David Blatt got up to the finals. He proved that much to at least earn a second year to play the full season, to play at least a whole full second season. Tyronn Lue, I don't see him doing anything else special. They went out and got more shooters, and the problem is, let's be honest, and it's not like to shift the blame on LeBron, but I think he's the biggest problem. I think LeBron should be held more accountable. He's not a great leader. He's not making anybody better like most of our leaders do. He's not capable of it. Then you have the nerve and audacity to say if they don't make it far in the playoffs, you might leave. And then you say earlier you want to win a championship with Melo, Wade, and Chris Paul. Like, wow, great words from a great. I just have no respect for Cleveland. Like, honestly, I got 2 words for them, and it's not to be bogus. Fuck them. That's it.
Man.
Cleveland, like I said, at this point, everybody knows the championship's coming out of the West.
Hey, I gotta say, I agree. It all starts with LeBron. Like, it was obvious. Iman Shumpert definitely threw that towel at Tyronn Lue, but let's be honest, Tyronn Lue ain't the coach of that team. It's LeBron James. LeBron James is the coach, the player, and the GM. He runs the entire organization, and they have given him the power to do that because they're so scared that he's going to leave. And I was talking to my dad earlier about this. I started, like, I actually, going into the season, I was like, man, I actually really have a lot of respect for this LeBron James guy again. And then after seeing everything unfold, it's like, wait a second. He left Cleveland once when things went bad. He quit. Had to go join Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh. Now they're losing again, and like Gonzo said, he wants to go join Melo. He wants to join Chris Paul, Dwayne Wade. So when it gets tough, what does he do? He quits. He goes somewhere else. He wants to play with other players that he thinks can help him win. And that makes no sense. And a lot of this is on him. Was it not LeBron who wanted Kevin Love instead of Andrew Wiggins?
Wiggins, absolutely.
Man, if they have Andrew Wiggins, shoot, I think you and I probably they would have beat the Warriors last year.
Absolutely, they would have.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, they would have.
Yeah, they would have beat the Warriors.
Defensively, they would have more people to play man-to-man defense. Like let's be honest, like Kevin Love is one of the reasons why they're not a great defensive team because he can't really guard anybody. Kyrie really can't guard anybody.
Right.
Mozgov is a decent defender. You put Mozgov, LeBron, and you got Andrew Wiggins out there. You can run a zone. You can play man-to-man with those three guys. That makes defense stronger. I mean, and they traded that away for three-point shooting, which, like I say, which I don't think three-point shooting is that necessary in the East anyway.
No.
You have to be a huge three-point
shooter. And he's
team to win.
And let's be honest, he's not a great three-point shooter anyway. He's a good shooter, but he's not great.
Great, exactly.
I mean, they traded him for what? A guy who's going to shoot 35% from the three-point line as a big man? No.
I mean, Andrew Wiggins is shooting like 29, ain't he? Something like that. I mean, that's not 6% less, maybe. But you would have done better.
But he's going to play some D, and he can get buckets on his own.
Yep, he got a good post.
He doesn't need teammates to get a shot. He can get his buckets. And Kyrie Irving, I'm going to say, is another problem because I did read that he does not want to defer. He doesn't want to sacrifice it all. He wants to be the guy. But I guess I kind of get it. And once again with the young dude mentality, it's like LeBron, you left this team. They drafted me. I'm the man here. You left.
And he tried to do the same thing in Miami, though.
Yeah.
And it didn't work.
Yeah. So that's the thing. I mean, I guess in a sense, Kyrie has a gripe. He has a legitimate gripe in a sense. Like, you left. You came to play with me. I didn't bring you here. He doesn't want to. He doesn't want to give up the reins.
Didn't LeBron get into it with Spoelstra before he left?
Yes, he did.
Like this dude is like Darren Williams, like 2.0. Like this is
every coach. Yeah.
Let's get into it with every whenever a player gets into it with every single coach. It seems to me that you're becoming a problem. Mike Brown, Spoelstra, got into it with Blatt. Now him and Tyronn Lue look like he's trying to outcoach Lue on the sideline. That's a problem. Let me tell you something. After I won 2 championships with Spoelstra, I'm pretty much probably not going to question this guy because he's proven he can win with me. But at some point in time, being a man is not always just standing up. Sometimes it's being a great father and learn how to sit down and listen to somebody else who might know what they're doing a little bit better.
Man, I'm just it's almost like it's almost like LeBron. He does not want to be led.
He doesn't.
Right.
You know
what I'm saying? Right about that. He doesn't want to be led. He doesn't want to be coached. And I know we've said many times, like if Popovich were the coach, I don't think it would make a difference. He'd probably just tune Popovich out because he doesn't want to be coached. LeBron it seems like he has that mentality. He just knows everything. He has, and he kind of reminds me in a sense because he is making the decisions there, the personnel decisions. He's like Michael Jordan. Don't let LeBron judge talent because he brought Kevin Love in. Yeah, hey, I'd stay away from that. Let the basketball people make basketball decisions. LeBron James needs to play. Let Tyronn Lue coach. I'm not saying Lue. I mean, do we really know if Tyronn Lue can coach or not? I mean, we really don't because LeBron does everything. That's his team. So let the guy have a chance. I see why LeBron wanted him in there because he could just run all over him.
And see, that's what LeBron wants. LeBron doesn't want to coach. Like he doesn't want somebody like a Pat Riley who's going to say, "Look, this is how I'm running this team. This is the way I want things to go." He takes that.
He wants a yes man.
He wants a yes man. Like that's why they wouldn't. Which I would have thought would have been perfect with somebody like a Tibbs or a Mark Jackson would fit in. with them, but they're not going to go get those guys because you know what's going to happen. LeBron's not going to want somebody to tell him how that he needs to be playing or call him out on what he needs to do on defense and what he needs to do on offense. Stop shooting all those threes and go to the hole. Like he doesn't want to hear. He doesn't want a coach that's going to demand him to do what he should be doing. He doesn't want that. You know what I'm saying?
No.
And that's a sign. And honestly, that's a sign of a bad leader. When you can't take advice, you're probably going to be a bad leader because nobody knows it all. You know, I don't care how old you get. You know, you're just never going to know everything. There's always something you can learn each and every day.
Absolutely.
Something you can always get better at. And when you get to the point where you just closed off and nobody can like help you or push you to the next level,
it's time to move on.
Yeah, it's time to move on. Time to let it go. You know, and start finding new pieces because it's a waste. And you know that's one thing too that kills chemistry. You know, you got a bunch of guys who are willing to buy in and want to be winners, but when your leader seems to have constant conflict with coaches, your leader is pulling all the GM decisions, your leader is not being called out for his defensive assignments, that starts tampering with team chemistry now. Because people on the team start looking and saying, well, okay, I blew an assignment, I got called out. This guy blew an assignment, he didn't get called out. So you know what? I'm not gonna try to play defense at all now until they call him out. See?
And you know, and that's why instead of LeBron being 5-1 in the NBA Finals, he's 2-4 because they weren't going to win in 07. That's not. I don't blame him for that one. They had no chance. But the other ones, they should have won last year. They should have won, and they should have beat Miami, and they really should have beat San Antonio 2 years ago. They should be 5-1 in the final. Instead, he's 2-4.
We've got a couple guys in the chat. We've got Alex Campbell, Orlando Till, Julian Lomenzo 94. Appreciate it, guys, for you guys jumping in the chat. But they're kind of talking a little bit about what we're talking about with the Cavs, saying that the Cavs, Alex Campbell says that the Cavs' decisions are based on LeBron, not on the team. Orlando Till says the greater the player you are, the more media pressure that's put on you. And so, you know, basically with that, I mean, it comes down to they're probably going to trade Kevin Love. That's a given. They're going to have to revamp the roster somehow. But when you threw all that money at Tristan Thompson, all the money you threw at Kevin Love, I mean, these poor decisions that the, you know, basically the management is making, it just doesn't make sense to me to revolve it around one guy and you're not even winning. You're not even the favorite to win the NBA championship. That's a problem to me.
And he's getting up there in age.
Right.
He's got a lot of miles on him.
When you've got a team like the Miami Heat that people are talking about, including us, that are actual legitimate challengers to the Cavaliers, that's a problem. Because if you're LeBron and the Cavs, you should be steamrolling every one of these teams in the East.
And you know what? Here's the scary thing. If Toronto can get through the first 2 rounds, they can challenge. They can beat Cleveland. The problem is they have to prove they can get out of the first couple rounds.
Right.
But they match up well against Cleveland and Miami, and this talk of Miami is legitimate. But man, they're doing this without Chris Bosh.
Right.
That's another thing to consider. There's no Chris Bosh, and people are still talking about Miami beating Cleveland. I know Gonzo's been saying it all year, so I'm actually starting to jump on that bandwagon. Miami's the team. I think Miami might be the team to beat in the East.
Hey, I'm gonna tell you something. Indiana might, because the current standings right now, Indiana will be playing Cleveland in the first round. If Cleveland don't fly straight and start getting together now, they could potentially be exiting in the first round.
Hey, I can see it though, because Indiana with Paul George and then their defensive mentality, I mean, they have a chance to. I don't know that they beat Cleveland in the first round, but they have a very good chance of putting some dents in them. Yeah. You know, come the second round, to where they're not, you know, fully in that, you know, beast mode mindset, so to speak. So we'll see. Let's see. So jumping topics. Kind of before we get into the Chicago Bulls, I wanna talk about something that Julian Lomenzo 94 wanted us to cover. He asked us if we can cover who our predictions for the New York Knicks head coach will be next season. You guys got anybody that you think that might be a candidate?
Well, no, I mean, candidate, but I think Mark Jackson will be a good fit. He's from New York. He played for New York. Hey, throw him in there. I mean,
in all honesty,
in
all honesty, to me, I think honestly, to me, the best guy would be like Monty Williams. I think he would be a really good fit there. But I think they'll go after Luke Walton. That would be my guess. It's just popular. Everybody wanted Gentry last year. Everybody's going to want Luke Walton this year. But remember, his dad said, and a guy I worked with was telling me this, and I didn't know it. And then I read his Bill Walton said, you know what, dude, he wants Luke to stay because he goes into New York and he could be set up for failure because you just don't know how it's going to go there. With Phil Jackson wanting to do his thing, and Phil wants to coach the team without coaching the team. You can kind of see it now. But if you're going to let the coach do what they do, I think Monty Williams would be the best fit. Mark Jackson would be another good one, although I'm not a fan of all of Mark Jackson's offensive schemes, because he does, when he was in Golden State, it was an interesting stat that they were last in the NBA in passes per game. They were a very ISO-heavy ball club. And I don't know how that would work for the Knicks, but I like Monty Williams there. I don't know how Luke would be as a head coach. That would be an interesting one. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
Orlando Till saying that Luke Walton would be, the choice, or extending Kirk Rambis would be another choice. I'm actually going to go out there and say that because he's a Phil Jackson disciple. Now, this is if Phil Jackson stays. I could see Brian Shaw getting another shot.
Yeah.
And, I mean, to me, I think most likely they bring back Rambis for next season. Maybe just like they always do, they'll kind of falter in the beginning, and Rambis will be out as coach, and they'll bring somebody in as an interim. But they've really got to figure out what they're going to do with Carmelo, because with Carmelo there, I mean, they've gotten as far as they can get. And he has the no trade clause, so if Lala okays it, then Melo would basically start, to look at other teams. You could put Melo in a situation of a championship contender, and he could be a really vital piece. But, I mean, Melo's getting up there in age too. So, I mean, with the Knicks, they've got to find an identity and find it fast.
So. Yeah, they do. Are you gonna transition it and make it the Porzingis' team, or is it still gonna be Melo's team? And I gotta say, the last 6-7 games, Porzingis has played really well. He really looks good. They've been giving him the basketball more. He's getting more minutes. Like even the game I went to last week when the Knicks were in Chicago, that they were giving him the basketball, and he dominated. They had no answer for him. So what are you going to do? I think that's another thing. Is Melo going to take a step back if he does stay?
Right.
Plus, what are you going to do with Aflalo, Derek Williams? Because I think they say Aflalo's going to opt out. I wouldn't bring him back. I think.
Well, he doesn't want to come back after getting benched for Sasha Vujacic.
I wouldn't want him back. I actually didn't mind that benching, as crazy as it sounds, because to me, Aaron Aflalo, and I've watched a lot of Knick games this year. Is it just me, or is that guy a black hole on offense? He shoots every time he touches the ball.
Hey, I'm gonna tell you something. I shoot 100,000% on that, because there's several games where they were real close, like the game against OKC when OKC came to New York.
Yes.
I think it was a tie game, and they had 7 seconds on the clock and a chance to run a play. And Aaron Aflalo didn't pass one possession on that last chance to shoot the ball. And Porzingis was wide open.
Yeah, and in Cleveland, when they played in Cleveland, the last time they played in Cleveland, they were beating them like the whole game. It was down the stretch, the last 8 minutes of the game. Porzingis was on fire. He had like 26 points through 3 quarters, something like that. I swear to God, Aflalo took 80% of the shots down the stretch. Derek Williams took a few. Or no, not Derek Williams, but not Williams. It was Lance Thomas. Lance Thomas and Aflalo took every shot down the stretch, literally. Oh my God! And against the Bulls, Aflalo was getting buckets. He was getting buckets, but he shot every time he touched the ball. I was like, is this guy gonna ever pass? He does not pass. Man, I don't understand. Who told Aaron Aflalo he's a go-to guy?
That was a prize free agent signing. So
man, shit. I thought it was going to be. I didn't realize he was that much of a black hole. I didn't see it in Orlando or Denver. He got to the Knicks, and all of a sudden, this guy thinks he's freaking Kobe Bryant.
Yeah. Well, you brought up a kind of good segue with the Chicago Bulls. Looks like they are not going to be in the playoffs this year. Looks like they're going to narrowly miss it.
As Gonzo predicted.
Yep. We've got basically half of Twitter blaming Gar Forman and John Paxson, and then you've got the other half blaming Fred Hoiberg. I don't really hear a lot of people really blaming any of the players, so to speak. What do you guys feel like, is the biggest factor that's there that you could blame missing the playoffs? Do you think it's Hoiberg, or do you think it's front office? A little of both? Do you think the players play a part in that, or is it a mix? Go ahead, guys.
It's a combination of all three, and like I told you earlier, 2/3 falls on the front office, 1/3 falls on Hoiberg and the players. The players do have to take. They're on the court. They're playing. They have to take some blame. Hoiberg's the coach. He has to take some. But that front office, and I'm not going to say Tibbs would be that much better with this roster because a lot of these aren't Tibbs guys. A lot of their roster. But I'll say this: you fire Tibbs, he walks, he's gone, he essentially gets fired. You bring in the guy Hoiberg. You want to run the space and pace offense, okay? And you keep the roster from last year intact. This is not a roster that's going to run that offense, And for those who blame Hoiberg, I don't understand it. They're praising. What did you expect him to do? Run the same system as Thibodeau? There's talk. He doesn't hold players accountable. He's not confrontational. The guy could die if he gets confrontational. I mean, the guy just came off of a massive, heart surgery. He can't exactly, he can't beat Tom Thibodeau. He could die, and stuff like that. But this front office made no roster moves. The biggest move they made was drafting Bobby Portis. This roster is the exact same as last year. And as I told you earlier, and I think Gonzo will agree with this, Game 6 semifinals last year in Chicago against the Cavs, they laid down and died. They gave up. And that's with Thibodeau as the coach. Do you really think this same roster was going to respond to Thibs? Hell no. They wouldn't be much better than they are now. Maybe a couple wins. I mean, at best, maybe under Thibs they get the 8th seed. This roster was going to fail no matter what. They had to make changes, and they did not do that. And I will say, last year it started. You sign Pau Gasol, you bring in Aaron Brooks, and you got Nico. Those three guys are not Tom Thibodeau players. They aren't Thibodeau guys, and that's why I think you saw the drop last year in the defense. Because you have 3 rotation guys who aren't defensive guys. They're not hard-nosed guys, and that's what Thibodeau likes. So, but it falls on Garpax, most of the blame. They did absolutely nothing with this roster that they knew was flawed. You can't tell me they thought this was a championship roster. And that bench is deep. I will give them that.
Even if injury-free? Even if injury-free?
This roster was not going to win a champion. Injury-free, they make the playoffs. I think they make it. If Jimmy, because it really kind of started when Jimmy went down for a month, I think if Jimmy stays healthy all year and doesn't go down for that month, they're probably a 6, 7 seed. But still, that's unacceptable for what everybody expects from this team. But it's not Hoiberg's fault. I still will defend Hoiberg. I blame that front office. That front office is horrible. I know John Paxson got 3 championships for him, but he's got to go. He's got to go.
What you think, Gonzo? Go ahead, man. Floor is yours.
All right, I'm going to divide mine up a little differently, okay? I'm going to do it in 1/5. Okay, 1/5 of the blame goes to Paxson, 1/5 the foreman. 1/5 goes to the coach, which I'm not gonna really put. I really don't want to put it on him because this is his first time coaching the NBA. So
That's another thing. Yes.
he needs at least coach. I mean, they are 500, and this is his first year, which is gotta say that for you to be your first year and you still make 500, that's kind of a decent job.
With a bunch and with your best player missing a month of the season and Joe missing almost the whole year.
So a little more credit goes to him than criticism. Okay, so but 1/5 goes to him. 1/5 goes to the team because they have a bunch of inconsistent players. Aaron Brooks is inconsistent. Nico Mirich is inconsistent. Those two guys alone, you don't know if you're going to get 20 points, 20 misses, or they're going to give up 20 points to the person that's sticking. So, so I'm going to say 1/5 goes to the team, and the other 5th goes to your 4-time MVP,
Derrick Rose,
by the Doctors Association, known as the most valuable patient. Who is Derrick Rose?
Yes.
Like he's like they wasted so much time with Derrick Rose, bro. Like, and I think we get so hyped off. We got so hyped off that one MVP season. But Derrick Rose, one thing about Derrick Rose, and I always say this. I said it's his IQ that's really holding him back. Because if you notice, every other NBA point guard, they've gotten better. Like Russell Westbrook, let's be honest. We said he was wild, he was highly inconsistent, but let's be honest. Russell Westbrook has become a much better passer than he's ever been.
Mm-hmm.
Like, look at his statistics. He's gotten better at almost every category. He's gotten better. His mid-range shot got better. His field goal percentage got better. His free throw percentage is getting better. Rebounds, he's gotten better. Assists, he's gotten better. So he became a better overall player, right? Better defender. He's a better defender to me now. Okay. Derrick Rose still hasn't got better at anything. Like, even let's be honest. Like, let's be honest. And let's look at these last few games. They brought up a stat. They say he's been averaging like 20 something like over the last month. That's true. But look at those assist totals. 1 assist, 3 assists. He had like 4 assists the other night. It was one game he had like 30 points and 2 assists.
He's looking like Kyrie Irving.
Yeah, even when Steph Curry gets 30 points, he's still dropping 6 and 7 dimes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Hell, James Harden gets 7 assists a game,
and he's always shooting.
Yeah.
So that just goes to show you that by Derrick Rose, when he's out on the court and he's not getting those assists, that means he's not getting anybody involved.
Mm-mm.
And that's a problem to the offense. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's so much dysfunction with the Bulls organization. I'm so glad that they won't make the playoffs because this was about time. They will probably finally start firing at the top. Like, get rid of Paxson, get rid of Foreman, trade Butler, just scrap the whole team, and we'll be back in 2028.
So I think this is a fair question. Who on this roster, who would you keep?
I'm gonna tell you something. The only person who I think that I would keep, and I think this person is actually a really, really good player, but I think they don't run enough plays for him, would probably be McDermott. Man. I think McDermott can put up 20 points a game. I honestly believe that.
You know what? That's not crazy because look what J.J. Redick is doing, and he's a much better player at this point in his career than J.J. Redick was.
He can put the ball on the floor.
Yes.
He has the height. He can shoot.
Mm-hmm.
And not to mention, like I say, Doug McDermott was scoring those points. Like, he was getting those 30 points, 20 points. He was getting those points when those plays weren't even drawing up for him.
Yeah.
Let alone if they were drawing up 20, 25 plays for him a night. He could easily get 20 points a game.
And you know what, though? That's another thing to Fred Hoiberg. He gave Doug confidence.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
That's a lot of that is on Fred Hoiberg. I would keep Bobby Portis, though. That's another one I'd keep. I like Bobby.
I keep Bobby Portis, yeah, absolutely.
I like Bobby.
Mirich, send him back overseas.
Man, I don't know. See, I think the jury's still out on Nico, man, because like he has so much talent. You know what I think Nico's biggest problem is? I don't think he's the smartest basketball player. I think that's his basketball IQ kind of sucks.
Well, I think it's confidence too. This year is taking a step back. But
which is crazy considering Hoiberg gives him so much more freedom.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but to me it's just like he looks like his confidence is just shaking out there. Now he had a couple good games, this season, but for the most part, I mean, he's averaging the same amount of points he averaged last year. You're supposed to take a step forward, not a step back.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And you know what I've noticed, too? Look at these. Even though they won, before tonight, they won 2 games in a row. And I noticed, especially against the Rockets, every time Nico was on Beasley, did you see what Michael Beasley did to him? He went right to the rim.
Right. Well, Beasley's going to put up points regardless.
Yeah. Yeah. Which I think Beasley's a good player.
Orlando Till in the chat saying that the Orlando Magic are considering trading Nick Vucevic, Victor Oladipo, and a first rounder for Jimmy Butler. I would take that trade in a heartbeat second.
Absolutely not. You know what I would do? Let me revise it. Let him keep Vucevic. Give me Aaron Gordon instead. I want Aaron Gordon.
Nah, Orlando ain't giving up Aaron Gordon.
No, I want Vucevic.
Go ahead, Gonzo. You think they'll take it?
I mean, I would. Vucevic should give me 18 and 10. I mean, you get Oladipo. I mean, you can use him as a 6th man off the bench. He give you 13, 14 points. You can make him a starter. I mean, why not? I mean,
and he can defend.
And he's a decent defender, exactly. You know.
And you get the first round pick.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That means if it's a first round pick this year, then the Bulls would get 2 lottery picks. Maybe they can win the lottery with one of those and bring in our guy Ben Simmons.
All right, Jimmy. I'll trade Jimmy Butler, Joakim Noah for Oladipo and Vucevic and a first rounder. That'd be fine with me.
What about this? And I know I've mentioned it before. Jimmy Butler to the Celtics for one of their first round picks for that Nets pick. I want that Nets pick because it's lottery. You get the Nets pick, you get Marcus Smart, and you get Kelly Olynyk. Do you do that?
I don't know about that. That's a little. I'd have to get something else. You'd have to give me. I would want Jay Crowder before I take Kelly Olynyk, because I would want the defensive Crowder on the wing.
That's fair.
But if you put Jimmy Butler on the Celtics in that trade, you just turned the Celtics into a possible championship.
You know what? But see, that's one of those trades that benefits both teams. You get the Brooklyn pick. You're going to get your lottery pick this year. You get Brooklyn's pick, which will be top 4 or 5, possibly number 1. You get Marcus Smart, who's your point guard of the future. He can defend. He'll pass. He'll figure it out. He's going to be a good player. Then you get, like you said, Jay Crowder, a defender, a guy who can space the floor with his shooting. So it works out for both teams. And Jay Crowder's still a fairly young guy. What is he, 25, 26?
Yeah.
So he's still young. You know, he's still a fairly young guy. You know,
if I'm the Chicago Bulls, I'm looking at a obscure team like the Utah Jazz that have some pieces that are kind of more hidden gems, like Rodney Hood.
Yes.
I would take Rudy Gobert, and I would take Trey Burke, and give you Jimmy Butler. Those 3, Jimmy Butler and Joakim Noah.
Utah would never do that.
They would never do it, but that would be something I would build around.
I think you could get Trey Burke and Rodney Hood. Ain't no way they're giving up Rudy Gobert.
Right.
They're not giving up Gobert. He's untouchable. I think Gobert, Hayward, and Favors are untouchable. I can see him giving up Trey Burke. I think Trey Burke's going to be a good NBA player on the right system. I like Trey Burke.
You just got to get better defensively, like most NBA players. So
exactly, and he's still young. But Utah. Or the trade I would love the most, as we all would, Jimmy Butler straight up for Devin Booker, but Phoenix ain't doing it.
I don't know that Chicago would even do that right now, because Jimmy Butler is proven, but Devin Booker is not. Yeah, he had a good rookie season, but what if he regresses in his second year? I like Devin Booker better, but I don't know that that's enough to entice Chicago management right now.
See, the crazy
straight up at least.
The crazy thing is, it would be Phoenix who would turn that deal down. I think it would be Phoenix. I would do it straight up. I would. I think Devin Booker is going to be fantastic.
Yeah.
Like I mean, look at all the weight. He's essentially running the team now, and he's 19.
I think he's going to be phenomenal, but I just don't know that it's enough to evenly say 1 for 1.
Yeah. Gonzo, what do you think? Jimmy Butler for Devin Booker?
Nah, because right now Jimmy proves he can do it on both ends of the floor. Devin Booker's proven he can be an offensive player, but he can't. I don't think he can do what Jimmy can do on defense yet. So
yeah. Question though, the Bulls are the Bulls in full rebuild mode, or are they still trying to rebuild while winning at the same time? That's the question. If they're in rebuild mode,
I think the Bulls this year they at the beginning of the season they were in rebuild mode with the chance of winning.
Yeah.
It's at the point now where you got to scrap, abandon ship.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, start up from scratch. Get to the end of the line and start up, recover. Like,
Right.
I just don't see a lot of stuff you can put, especially with a coach like Fred Hoiberg, who's still using, some of Tibbs players, and you just don't have a roster that fits the type of system that you want to run. It's like now it's either two things got to happen: either find another coach, use these players like Thibodeau, or you're gonna have to just keep Hoiberg and scrap the lineup and just make up.
That's what I said. That's what I said. If they go into next season with Jimmy and Hoiberg as your coach, at some point in the season, one of them has to go. It's not going to work. I will say this: as great as Jimmy is, he's one of the best. Hell, when he's healthy, when 100% healthy, he's one of the best 10 players in the league. But he just does not fit this system. And they brought Hoiberg in to run this system. They didn't bring Hoiberg in to play iso ball. And Jimmy would fit, like, in all honesty, Jimmy would fit in a team, like Jimmy would fit in Miami as a replacement for a guy like Dwayne Wade, but Wade isn't going anywhere. So, and something like a system like that, that runs a lot of iso plays, but he just does not fit this system. And you could still get a lot for Jimmy Butler if you're in that full rebuild mode. I mean, you got Doug, you got Bobby. Those are two really good players for this Hoiberg system, and they got to make some moves in the offseason. They cannot stand pat. They got to do something, and it will be really interesting to see what they do because this roster, I'll continue. This is a flawed roster. Anybody. And I'm crazy. I know I said a couple weeks ago they could beat Cleveland or Toronto if they matched up. I don't know if they can right now, even healthy. And it seems like the players don't all like each other. There seems like there's a split in the locker room. It's just watching the games, every time they play. It just seems like there's some kind of split in that locker room, and that's not healthy.
Well, guys, moving on from the depressing bottom dwellers of the guys that are out of the playoff race, let's talk about two teams that are championship contenders. Let's start with the San Antonio Spurs. Congratulations to them on getting their 64th win of the season, setting a single-season franchise record for wins. I don't think anybody in the West is going to compete with both the Spurs and the Warriors. I mean, I think it's going to be them all the way as far as, Western Conference Finals. But with the Spurs, what do you think that they have to do in order to really prepare themselves for the Golden State Warriors come playoff time?
I don't think they'll beat them in a best-of-7. I think the Warriors are going to keep it at their pace, and I agree with what Sam said last week when he said the Spurs survived. They kind of did. I mean, Curry and Thompson got their usual shots. They missed. It happened. Just kind of like last night. Klay Thompson couldn't throw it in the ocean. He got shots he usually makes. He couldn't throw it in the ocean. It happens in one game. But in a best-of-7, that's not happening, and the Spurs just can't play. They just can't play at that pace. You saw the first game. The Warriors, they'll keep at their pace and make shots. But the team that scares me the most in the West, and it pains me to say it, is the damn Oklahoma City Thunder. I actually think they can beat the Spurs in a best-of-7. They've done it before. They do match up well with the Spurs, and God damn it, they match up best with the Warriors. It's just down the stretch in the close games you don't know what you're going to get. But man, they're so talented that if I'm the Warriors, that's the team I fear the most is the Thunder. They don't want to see Russell Westbrook and Kevin Durant in the best of 7 because one thing I'll say I don't remember who it was Skip Bayless or Stephen A. Smith. Those two guys can win you a series. I mean, you got 2 of the best 5 players in the NBA on your team. They've always got a shot, and that's the team I'd be scared of. If I'm the Spurs, I'm not scared of the Thunder because the Spurs aren't scared of anybody. But I think the Thunder can beat the Spurs. I actually think it's going to be Golden State and Oklahoma City in the conference final. I think they're going to stun the Spurs.
Okay. What do you think, Gonzo? You think Spurs get there, and if they do, Western Conference Finals wise, what do they have to do to prepare to beat Golden State?
I don't really think it's nothing you prepare for. I think you just play your game and just keep giving Golden State. This is what I'm gonna say. I'm gonna change what I'm saying. I'm gonna say it a little better. See, you notice Tim Duncan didn't really play a whole lot that very last game. He didn't play at all the first time they played. And let's go back in the past. Tim Duncan was getting a lot of rest during the playoffs. But it came time of playing against Miami. Tim Duncan was putting up like what, 20, 10? Like
he was the best player in the series.
Best player in the series. So, and a lot of the stuff you saw with LaMarcus Aldridge sticking Draymond Green, and he had all those. It's going to be a totally different game when Tim Duncan starts posting up. Because then he's going to demand some double teams. There's going to be a lot of players open, a lot of motion going. So a lot of that stuff is going to change. This is my thing, what I don't understand. And I say this again about Golden State. Everybody said Oscar Robertson old and he doesn't know what he's talking about. But I've been watching a lot of what he's been saying about how people play defense on Steph Curry. Let me tell you something. The man knows what he's talking about, and guess what? People keep talking about players now are so much bigger, faster, stronger. Yeah, that's true. But you mean to tell me just because they're bigger, faster, stronger, I still can't use a defensive concept that might have been ancient years ago? I still can't use it now. Like last night, let's look at that Boston game at the end. Boston was up by 3 points. I think Golden State had a chance to get their last shot.
Yeah, Curry missed it.
Nobody picked up Steph Curry till after he got well past the half-court line.
And he had a wide-open shot to tie it.
Exactly. That's my point is, why wasn't he picked up 3-4 for the court? Why wasn't he picked up as soon as he inbounded the ball or as soon as the ball was passed him? Nobody picked him up. It's like nobody's doing it. Even when the game, the shot against OKC, when he hit that half-court shot and won the game when they went OKC, why didn't Roberson or whoever on OKC, why didn't they pick him up like right as he was approaching the half-court line? Steph Curry had a lot of space in between him and Roberson when he made this shot. So the point I'm trying to make is that I think a lot of teams just don't know how to defend. They're so worried about the easy bucket sometimes, but I know Steph Curry is great at scoring in the basket, but he wants the three-point shot. That's really what he wants. Because
you know what gives him the advantage, though? Guys these days, like, not so much back in the day, but now guys are so worried about being broke down off the dribble and embarrassed, and we know Curry can handle the rock. I think that's what it is. They're so scared. If I pick him up at three-quarters court, he's going to chop me up and make me look stupid, which he can do. I think they're worried about it. Like, that's the like if you put like Tony Allen wouldn't be a guy like Tony Allen, Kawhi Leonard, those guys wouldn't be worried about it. But most players in the NBA don't want to get embarrassed. You know, I think that's what it is.
What's with that? I agree with you there because I'm gonna ask a question though. Like, what's with that mentality? Okay, so what do you do? I lost the battle.
They don't want to be on the Sports Center top 10 getting embarrassed.
I would rather have some defensive pressure there, though.
But you know what? Once again, it goes back to the young generation mentality.
Like, I would much rather for Steph Curry to cross me up and I'm trying to play defense and my team still gets the win, as opposed to trying not to play defense and allow him to hit open threes and beat him.
And think, it takes time for him to cross you up. So time's going off the clock as he's working you with the ball. He's not just going up with one hand, dribbling up to his spot and shooting. He's having to work to break you down. So now time is going off the clock. So now he's going to be in a hurry. Most like you go one-on-one, Curry's going to break you down most of the time. Most of these good NBA players will. They can handle the ball. But still, You got to make the guys work.
Well, speaking of Golden State, we're all waiting to see what happens if they break the record of 72 wins. They've only got one loss that they can get before they end up losing the record, or losing the chance at the record, I guess. They play the Spurs twice, before the end of the season. Do they get the 73 wins?
They're going to get 74 because Greg Popovich is going to sit guys both games.
Gonzo.
Even Tony Parker came out and said it too. He thinks Pop's going to sit guys, which he will. Typical Pop.
Go ahead, Gonzo. What do you think?
I don't know, because Pop, even when Paul George was about to break the points in the All-Star game, he made him play tight defense on him at the end. So Pop's kind of one of those guys. He might preserve history and say, let's go out there and play hard and make sure that they don't break this record. So I'm not sure. I don't know. Pop is one of those guys, man. The dude's a puzzle. Like,
you don't know what he's gonna do.
You don't know what he's gonna do, but I love it about Pop, though, man. He's about business. He's about winning.
I think.
Go ahead, Matt.
I was gonna say the thing with Pop, like he knows they're not gonna catch the Warriors for first place, but he always is thinking big picture. Like, if Golden State beats us twice, I'm not giving anything away from if we have to play them in a conference final, and I'm resting my guys. So what? They beat us, they get the record. So what? He's always thinking big picture.
I think you're on the right track there with the big picture. I think he tries to play the role of spoiler because if you think about it, I'm going to stick to my prediction of that they tie the record of 72 wins, but they don't break it. I think that him playing the role of spoiler means if we can keep Golden State from breaking that record, does their swagger go down a notch come playoff time? Do they start overthinking things come playoff time? Because that's kind of what they're striving for. Do they figure out, okay, well, we didn't get the basically 73 wins. We say they lose to the Spurs both games. Does that put some kind of damper of doubt, on them come playoff time? Like, okay, well, we've had a, really historic regular NBA season, but do we have to question some concepts come playoff time?
Shoot, they lose. If the Spurs play everybody and they win both games, the Warriors are probably definitely going to be thinking, wait a second here. I don't think they will lose both games, but
right.
I actually think they're going to win. I think Pop will sit guys one of those games.
Yep.
And I think it'll be the game in San Antonio. I think he will rest them at home.
Okay.
I don't think Pop cares about the Spurs going undefeated at home. Because everybody's thinking, oh, the Spurs, they want this record, they want to go undefeated at home. No, Pop's going to say, you know what? We're big. It's bigger than than going 41-0 at home. The goal is the championship, not win 41 home games. Because if we go 41-0 at home, but we get knocked out in the second round, Oklahoma City, or in the conference finals to the Warriors, that means nothing. So I think he's thinking big picture. We'll rest the guys at home. He'll play the guys one of those games, but I actually think he'll shock everybody and rest them at home. I mean, look what he did a few years back in Miami, TNT. Biggest game of the season, National Spurs Heat. He rests everybody. He sends them all back to San Antonio. So I wouldn't put it past Pop to actually stun everybody and rest them at home.
All right. Last NBA topic I want to cover is the return of Blake Griffin to the Los Angeles Clippers tomorrow. Well, today actually. It's on the East Coast. It's past 12. But does Blake Griffin coming back, does that hurt the Clippers because they've done so well without him, or does that help them elevate themselves to actual Western Conference final contenders? Gonzo, go ahead. I'll let you go first.
I think it hurts them against any other team except for the Clippers. I think, except for when they play against Golden State. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I think playing against Golden State, it creates a mismatch problem for Draymond Green and somebody like Bogut who might have to stick somebody like Blake Griffin because he's so athletic and he can get to the basket. But against everybody else, it kills them. Like if they play against the Spurs, if they have Blake Griffin, I mean, that's not going to mean anything. I mean, it's probably going to make them worse. Like, they would probably play better without him. But against Golden State, it will benefit them. So it just depends on the matchup, you know. But me personally, I don't see the Clippers going no further than the second round anyway. So
Exactly.
yeah, they'll be going
Right.
home like right now they're in fourth. I think Memphis is fifth, so they'll beat Memphis easily, and then they'll be.
Oh, yeah.
They're probably going to end up playing Golden State in the second round, so they're probably going to get swept this series.
Yeah.
Man,
what do you think, man?
I agree, but I think they'll get one. They might get one game in the second round. I think it'd be like 4-1. I think they'll get one at home. You know, but it's like last year. He's right. Like last year against the Spurs, even though the Clippers did win the series, in all those close games, did you see the dumb mistakes Blake Griffin was making down the stretch?
He was terrible.
Trying to be freaking LeBron James, and he's throwing the ball over, making spin moves, and just losing the ball. It was horrible. Like, this guy has played a fantastic game the whole game. 2 minutes left, and you decide you're going to be the worst player on the court? Come on now. Like, that's the thing with him. I mean, they're going to be energized. Blake Griffin will be back. They'll be energized at first, but when they get up against the Golden State Warriors, yeah, it's a wrap. They'll lose in 5, and it won't matter. And they'll, you know, and then the Clippers will have to decide some things in the offseason. Because this roster going forward is not going to get it done. Trades need to be made. They need to call the Cleveland Cavaliers, Chris Paul for Kyrie Irving.
Interesting.
Yeah, which will make LeBron James happy. He doesn't have to leave Cleveland to play with Chris Paul.
Yeah, but it piss off J.J. Redick and.
Well, no, that's why. That's why I always think you throw J.J. Redick in the trade.
Okay.
You throw him in the trade, and the Cleveland can give up Shumpert or J.R. Smith.
Ooh. If I'm the Clippers, I say no.
I think they'll say yes because this roster's not working. You're not going to rebuild with Chris Paul. He's old.
Yeah, but still, I don't. J.R. Smith ain't getting me anything, and Shumpert's regressed, so no. I don't want either one of them.
But you get a young Kyrie Irving, so I think they might do it.
Yeah, but Kyrie Irving's a 2-guard and a point guard's body, so.
That's all right, though.
Yeah, but it's going to be him and Blake Griffin fighting for shots, and then DeAndre Jordan's going to go, where the hell's my lobs? I'm averaging 4 points a game. So, I mean, you know, that ain't going to work.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
I hate it for DeAndre Jordan's career when Chris Paul leaves or retires or whatever the case may be, because he ain't averaging anything close to what he's averaging now. He's going to be single digits and frustrated while sitting on the bench because he ain't going to be doing much of anything.
That's right.
All right, guys, let's switch it up and talk a little baseball. This is not something we normally talk about, but I think it's something good to cover with the season getting underway soon.
Tomorrow.
Yeah, it's crazy. Actually, yeah, I guess it is. Yeah.
That's the Royals tomorrow night.
Yeah. Now, being that the I guess overall favorites are the Chicago Cubs.
Yes.
In the World Series.
Yes.
Who do you guys think, as far as predictions coming out of the National League and the American League, who do you guys have as World Series finalists for this year? Gonzo, go ahead and you start it off.
I'm going with the Red Sox and Mets. And the Red Sox will win.
Red Sox and the Mets, okay.
Yeah, the bandwagon is getting too heavy. The wheels are going to fall all off that thing. Trust
me. For the Cubs?
Yeah. I'm
hey, Gonzo already knows who I'm picking for the World Series. I'm going with the Cubs. I picked him going into last year. before the ban. I wish, like, had they won it, I was like, damn, if they win it this year, I wish I would have put $100 on the Cubs because I actually picked them going into the season.
No,
But so that's an easy. That's my pick. It's everybody understands that, you know. But here's my pick in the American League: the Houston Astros. They got themselves.
I can see that.
Yeah, they got themselves a closer.
Talent, I can see that.
Yeah, they got themselves a closer, you know, from Philadelphia.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah. And then, you know, and then Carlos Correa. That guy. I mean, you don't really have to say much about him. That guy's the future best player in baseball.
Right.
Oh, he's going to be better than Alex Rodriguez. He doesn't have to cheat to hit home runs.
No, he doesn't. His
Oh,
is really good.
Yeah, Carlos Correa is going to be a stud. He's actually, you know, I'm going to say that's my prediction for American League MVP as well.
Okay.
That dude is fantastic.
I'm gonna go with, just because I want to see the underdog kind of actually get to the World Series. It's been 107 years.
Yes.
1908 was the last time they won a World Series title. Chicago Cubs. I'd like to see them in the World Series. That doesn't mean that they're going to make it necessarily, but I'd like to see them. So I'm just going to kind of say that my Philadelphia Phillies are going to be in last place more than likely. I'm you know, a realist, not an optimist. And for the American League, I think the Toronto Blue Jays, I almost said Raptors, Toronto Blue Jays end up making the World Series. They've got Josh Donaldson, Edwin Encarnacion, and Jose Bautista still. I know they lost David Price, but I think that they still have one of the best offenses in baseball, and I think they end up getting to the World Series. So, who do you guys have as your MVPs?
Let me go. You already know I got Correa in the American League, and I'm going with one of my Cubbies in the National League. And no, not Rizzo. I'm going Chris Bryant in the National League.
Wow. Okay.
Yes, I'm going Chris Bryant. I think he's going to shock this. He's going to be even better than he was last year, and he was fantastic last year.
Okay.
I'm going Chris Bryant.
I'm going to go with Bryce Harper as a repeat in the National League, and in the American League, I'm probably going to go with Josh Donaldson. Nah, not again. I would probably have to go with Correa again. Like I got to agree with McMill on this one, man. Yeah, Correa's really, really good, man. Like,
and you know, it's going to be close between him and Trout. But
I was about to say mine's Mike Trout.
Yeah, so. I don't think the Angels are going to make the playoffs. I think that's what's going to give Correa the edge. That's why I went with Correa. I think they're going to win the division. I think. I mean, their pitching is really, really good. Their offense is really. They just have they're a lot like the Cubs. I mean, and we talked about it in the pre-show. The Cubs and the Astros the last 4 or 5 years have had the best farm systems in baseball, and now they're all bringing up to the big league club, and it's paying off for them. Because nobody last year had the Cubs or the Stros in the playoffs. Everybody said the Cubs were a couple years away, the Stros are a couple years away, and they got in last year. And the Astros, let's not forget, they had the Royals beat. They were up 2-1 in a best of 5. They had the lead going into the 8th inning at home, and they lost because they did not have a closer. They did not have a bullpen. Now they get their closer. They had the Royals beat.
See, I'm torn between Anthony Rizzo for the Cubs, and everybody's going to say Bryce Harper, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
But I also like Paul Goldschmidt from the Diamondbacks.
Yeah.
I mean, he's another sleeper there.
Yeah, and they could be a wild card this year.
Right.
They made some nice moves in the offseason.
I mean, it could go either way. I mean, it's a long, basically everybody knows, Major League Baseball season, anything can happen. But, I really want to see the Cubs there, come World Series time, just because it's been so long. So let's keep our fingers crossed and hope they make it. And I hope that Chris Bryant makes a big leap forward to help them. And and they're successful. I'm not even a Chicago fan. I just like the underdogs. You know, in a perfect world, my Phillies would end up, first in the National League East, but ain't gonna happen. They're not beating the Mets.
You never know. You never know. Anything's possible.
Not with the roster they have.
Because we all remember, and I think this is why some people may be hesitant on the Cubs. Remember when they made that great run in '03 when Bartman messed everything up for the Cubs and ruined all the dreams? Going into the next season, the Cubs were predicted to win the World Series. They didn't even get to the playoffs. They did win about 84, 85 games, but they didn't get to the playoffs. And, so I think but this just seems like a different Cubs team.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a Cubs team where Sammy Sosa was your leader.
Yeah.
Come on now. This is a much better team, much better pitching staff. They're not injury prone like that, like Pryor and Karen Wood always hurt. This Cubs staff is not hurt. Now, I don't know about John Lackey. I know they got him from the Cardinals, but he's old. Right. I don't know how he's going to be this year. He's the one I'm worried. I think Lester will be better. Arrieta is not going to be as good as he was last year because he had a historic season last year. You can't expect him to. But he'll still be really, really good. I think Kyle Hendricks is the guy who's going to make a big jump. My guess is he'll be their fourth starter, and Hamill will be 5. But I think Hendricks is the guy that's going to be huge. He makes their offense is loaded. I'm not worried about the offense, but the pitching staff and the bullpen has to come through. I know they're the number 1 ranked pitching staff, I think, in baseball right now. They're predicted to be the best, but I think the bullpen always is a question mark, even though it seems like they're good. Rondon, Strope, but we'll see. We'll see what the bullpen does. Hopefully the offense gives them 5-6 run lead so they don't have to worry about it.
Hey, Gonzo, I know, Meek, I know you don't have a PS4, but Gonzo, did you happen to get MLB The Show yet?
Oh yeah, I got it the day it came out. Absolutely.
What do you think of it?
Best sports sim game, man. Like,
wow.
Honestly, it's top of the hill. It's better than NHL. Better than Madden. Better than 2K. It's the number 1 sports simulation.
Wow.
It is, and it looks like TV. It looks like you're watching it on TV. It's baseball. It's baseball at its core. Like, even playing like the Diamond Dynasty modes and people that play the fantasy modes, which I don't even tamper with those, but even those modes are sim, like working pitch counts. You know what I'm saying? Like managing hit and run situations and checking runners on base. Runners trying to steal bases. Just the confidence, the way the confidence can fluctuate in the game. You give up a big hit, some of your pitches become rattled. You know what I'm saying? Or one pitch in particular, if it gets hit too much, it becomes weakened, so it doesn't have a break on it like it does because you don't have the confidence to give it put that spin on it like you did before. Like, the game is and the fielding has got so much better because like now you can actually dive and make nice plays in the outfield. So, and I'm having a blast. That's if you're into baseball, just a tad bit, the game is a must-have sports simulation. And just even with the customizing of a lot of things you can do with the rosters. They got the tripped out part is they got a main roster, but you can go down and look on like they got it so deep, and especially, and this is just a shout out to somebody in particular, man. He usually does the rosters every year. His name is M. Knight or something like that. He's usually on Operation Sports. He does a roster every year.
Yeah.
All the AAA prospects, all the AA prospects, all the single A prospects.
Wow.
Man, it takes him about a month or so to get it, but when he gets it in there, man, I'm telling you, talking about like you can send people up and call people down, man. It's so much to do in the game. They revamped the franchise mode. I'm talking about they brought it to a whole nother level for MLB The Show, man. Like, it's a game. It's a must-have, man. Must-have. It's the must-have sport. Like 2K made 240 mil in a week. MLB should make 500 mil in a day or two because it's just that damn good.
Man, I just want to know, when is Sony going to come to an agreement with Microsoft and give us the show?
Honestly,
that just means you got to switch it over to PS4 now.
But see, you know what? Here's the thing. That's true. That's good. That's a good point. But imagine how like people like me and we are fiending for a sim baseball game on the Xbox One. Imagine how much money Sony would do. And I don't know if y'all saw, you know what Microsoft is trying to do? They're trying to get to where like if you got 2K, I have 2K, but you're on the PS4, I can still play you on
cross-playing,
cross-platform. They're trying to get that done, which will be huge.
Yeah, Sony denied that though.
Did they?
Sony
Man,
said,
Sony needs to say yes. They need to put MLB The Show on and Microsoft needs to let the PlayStation get Halo. That would make so much more money.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
Imagine if the show was on
Microsoft. They would make billion. They would make $1 billion selling that game.
Yeah. So Sony would make that much money with the show because there's a lot of Xbox One users who want a sim baseball game. And you know there's a lot of PS4 users who would buy Halo if it was on the PS4. And Microsoft, that's a deal they need to just make. Look, we'll make Halo for the PS4. You give us the show for the Xbox One. Just make it happen. Everybody wins, and money makes the world go around. Let's give the people what they want. Do the cross-platform thing so it doesn't matter. That way I can. That way everybody can play 2K no matter what system they have. You can play the show online, play Halo. Make it happen. Give the people what they want.
Los X23 saying MLB The Show is the reason he got the PS4 over the Xbox. So,
man, had I known that was going to be the deal, because when I bought my Xbox One, I did not know they wouldn't have an MLB game. That would have been the one reason that I did not get an Xbox.
I got the show last year, and for me, I want to be able to have enough time, so I probably won't get it for another month when I actually have the time to sit down and play it because it's so deep. Last year, Gonzo, like you said, just for me, like being a roster guy for any game, I was like blown away. Being able to call a guy up from AA straight to the majors, and it's real players. It's not like fake computer generated players, and you can just go through those career modes and just do that much customizing. And I think
with these updates, quick question though, when you call guys up, because I know when 2K did the MLB game, like it would be like kind of their overall like their ratings, but it would be a fake name just because they weren't licensed major league players, so they had to use a fake name. Is that how it is in the show? Like it's really them, but you just have to change the name up?
No, pretty much in the show they're fake generated names. That's why I say that's why if you get somebody like Pete who does like a roster or somebody like M Knight who does roster of operative sports, they actually create a roster with they tell you if he's the top 50 prospect, top 100 prospect, same height, weight.
Yeah.
They use his
AAA
stats.
So let's take this advantage. Let me use this as an example. Like Ian Happ, he was the guy he's like one of the Cubs' top prospects. He's obviously not going to be Ian Happ in the game, but it would be like his ratings with just a fake name, but all the stats, like all the height and the weight and all that stuff would be there. You just have to switch his name up.
No. They don't have any of that. Like you have to have somebody who's gonna custom do the whole roster.
Okay.
Like weight, height, all that.
Okay.
No, one thing with this. Okay.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say one thing the show does do that I think is really good. As soon as that AA prospect or AAA prospect gets called up, they're in the game.
Yeah.
Like they put out a roster update to add them in.
Yeah.
So it's not like with 2K, so to speak, where you're waiting 4 or 5 days, sometimes for it, for a player to update or things like that, like they did in the past when they had the MLB license. It's pretty much within a day, I think, right, Gonzo, that they have an update. Because they had Chris Bryant in pretty quick and, a whole bunch of other prospects. And they put out consistent updates, throughout. But I think with the custom roster, basically what they do is they go ahead and create all the prospects, say the 100 prospects in AAA, 100 prospects in AA, 100 prospects in single A, go ahead and put them in there on the roster, and then you play with that roster going forward. Like it's not continuously updated by the show; it's updated by that user.
Yeah.
So, But I think that, basically with the show, I think it's going to shatter any records, in the past that they've had, and then definitely blow out the record by 2K as the best sports game of the year. I think 2K is on to some advancements. We can go ahead and segue into 2K17, kind of some little bit of a wish list, so to speak, or some things that I guess top things that we want to see. Obviously, tendencies and gameplay are the most important, but what are some things that you think would put, idea-wise, or some things just mechanically that you think would put 2K17 over the top as the best 2K sports game ever?
Oh. I don't know if I can fix that. I'll say this. One thing, becoming like I never was an online player much until this year, and now that I play online all the time, and you notice how like there's got to be a way, like we were talking earlier, how you punish guys who are going to just blatantly cheese and use exploits. They've got to find a way, and I know it's not 100%. They can't solve everything because it's a computer. There's always going to be certain things you can't fix, but they've got to find a way to punish people who just play the wrong way. Like a guy, like I told you, I lose a game yesterday, and a guy shoots 40 shots of Damian Lillard. He's got to be punished for that, taking bad shots, but they're going in. A guy I played against, today, I mean, he just, every time he had the ball with Damian Lillard, just turbo to the bucket, and he drew a foul every time. Like, there's got to be some kind of, and then guys are starting to get away with that full court pass, or the I score a bucket, they have Russell Westbrook, so they just turbo down the floor and get a dunk after I score a bucket, just because of the exploit with the transition defense. They've just got to find a way to change some of that stuff up, because it gets so damn frustrating sometimes, and then especially the transition D and that damn full court pass has been getting me recently. Like they'll get to three-quarter, they'll inbound it like right to the point guard, and he'll throw a full court pass, boom, layup or a dunk. Like, I thought that was supposed to be fixed. You can't defend it. And I forgot, I saw a post, someone make a comment on Twitter, like, you can almost, if you use nothing but exploits, you can win 7 out of every 10 games you play. That's terrible. You should not be a good 2K player because you know how to use the exploits. Like, you have guys who have no idea what they're doing, except I know the exploits of the game, and I'm going to use it against you. That's terrible. It makes the game almost not even fun. I know Gonzo has a lot to say.
Honestly,
Gonzo, the floor is yours, man. I don't really have much to say outside of tendency, so I'm gonna let you have the floor. Go ahead, man.
Yeah, honestly, Pete, man, you and Greedy Rashidi, man, y'all need to be doing them rosters, man, because I'm sick of the rosters. No offense, man. I don't think there's no offense to 2K staff, but most of them rosters is just straight BS. But I mean, that's just my opinion. But I'm gonna
appreciate it, man.
2K. I'm gonna tell you now, man, about the 2K. My wish list for 2K. My wish list for 2K17 is to get better for 2K18 when I purchased it, because I would not be buying 2K17. I'm gonna tell you something. This is something, and this is the reason why. It's not that I hate on 2K, because a lot of people are just. See, I'm a fan of basketball. I'm a fan of simulation basketball. I'm not just a fan of just 2K, because if something else comes along and there's more simulation, hey, I wouldn't have no problem jumping ship. I'll be honest with you, I wouldn't. But we don't have that. We don't have that right now. So pretty much 2K is the pinnacle, and it's the top of sports basketball video games right now. And with all the stuff that goes wrong in 2K, man, these problems have been persistent. Passing has been a problem for like the last 10 years. Rebound has been a problem for like the last 5. Transition defense just started this year. Now, all these other problems, now you can't even play transition D. Like, wow, really? So you really just screwed the game, And it is getting to the point now. I don't feel like I'm playing basketball. I feel like I'm playing battle against sports fields, And even online, it's just not an enjoyable game to play especially against random users when you can't really see who you're playing against because so many guys you run into. Most of the time, 9 times 10, you're probably going to run into a cheeser unless you're playing against one of your buddies on your friend list who you know is going to play the game the right way. But those games don't even count towards your record online. So you're forced to play a cheeser who's going to manipulate the game to some degree just to get a win, which I don't find to be very, very fair. It's just a lot of things that 2K have just been doing wrong for so long. I just don't have faith in NBA 2K. I'm gonna be honest with you, I really don't. I'm not expecting anything from them. Honestly, I'm expecting a copy and paste with a little bit of brush, a little bit of foundation on it to make it look a lot prettier.
Hey, they're gonna hook the My Team users up.
They're gonna hook My Team users up. And that's another thing I get so pissed off about. When I complain about things in the game, I'm pointing out obvious stuff that I'm seeing in the game, obvious flaws. Check out Gideon Prime, man, Truth Chasers. The guy puts out a video a lot about stuff that's wrong in NBA 2K. But we get told that we're crazy, it's just a game, it's just a problem. People overlook all these flaws about the core gameplay. But I see you riding and raving over locker codes and Amethyst Kobe. Really?
Hey, you see all the time the Ronnie 2K and LGK. What code? We got cards coming. We got codes. What codes do you want next?
Or moment cards or whatever.
Yeah. Throwback Thursday.
So it's like right now, man, we're stuck in a situation where we really only have one really, really good basketball game to play, and it's like, let's be honest, a lot of us know the game is just really messed up. I guess I'm probably one of the people who's probably going to stand up and say it. The game is totally fucked up. I'm just going to say that. I don't like them anything about it, but I'm going to be honest with you about something. It's the best basketball game that we got, as of right now. And the only reason why we really, really play it is because we all like basketball that much. So we kind of forced to purchase it and play it. And they sold 240 million because they know they're the best basketball game. It gives us eye candy. It looks like NBA. It looks like we're playing NBA on TNT. So it gives us that feel of basketball. So that's the real reason why we play it, because we just crave basketball. But if we could just get my wish list for 2K18, like I said, is for them to get better in 2K18. And my wish list too is that please, somebody else, make a basketball game that's sim and give them some competition, because trust me, iron sharpens iron. If you don't have two good sports games for the most part, which I'm so surprised at MLB to show that they managed to last long, because they don't even have competition now, but they're still putting out a decent simulation product, and they stuck to that. Even in the fantasy modes, they've stuck to core baseball, and I respect that. You know what I'm saying? Like even the gold and the silver cards, it still comes down to balls and strikes. It still comes down to pitch locations and playing defense. It still comes down to that. And that's my biggest problem with NBA 2K, man. Look, we need competition in order for it to get better. Because I'm going to tell you right now, they don't have any competition. The same problem with the pass and the rebounding. Watch what I tell you. It'll be there next year.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing. Rebounding. They've got to fix that.
You know what I'm saying? And like I say, everybody takes it to me complaining and hating on it, but it's not that I'm hating on 2K. I'm just pointing out stuff that needs to be fixed. And and I'm the type of person like this, right? Everybody say, I rant, but I don't really rant to developers. But I'm the type of person like this. Yeah, I'm not gonna come at you directly. I'll just rant about it on Twitter, just hoping that you see it, or or I might post it on Operation Sports or something like that. Maybe some small blog or put a video up. But it's to the point now where I'm tired of always ranting about the same old thing when I realize that you're not gonna fix it anyway. So it's like to the point now in my mind, man. I'm to the point now, man. Like honestly, fuck 2K. No offense, but the game is just it's crap, man. Like I'll play it with friends. I'll still play it for recreation if I, what I'm saying, if I can sit in here, I haven't played it in months, but I would play it, but it's just I don't get the same enjoyment, and I think part of it might have something to do with, like you said, the rosters. The rosters might actually have something to do with a lot of the gameplay. It really might.
The tendencies do.
Yeah, because I'm tired of seeing like you could be in a close game and the computer needs 6 points, because I play my GM a lot, and guys like Luke Rashad Mabah-Mute, he's hitting 2 threes to tie it. Like really? Dude might hit 2 threes his whole career, but he's knocking down threes like he's Carmelo Anthony or like he's,
right, because the tendencies are outdated 2 years ago. And
Yeah, that's
the
crazy.
thing about it is Stoffer was hired to do the roster part of it, but they have others that handle tendencies part of it, and that to me is baffling because it's like if you're going to give Stoffer control of the ratings, then give him control of the tendencies, or have someone that actually knows what they're doing work the tendencies. Like I'm more in the tendency side of it than I am the rating side of it because yeah, you're gonna have the people that you're gonna have to overrate, like James Harden. Steph Curry's overrated in the game on defense. James Harden's overrated on defense. Um, Meek, we talked about this earlier, Antetokounmpo being at 84. To me, that's insane. Yeah, he's a good player. He's up and coming, but he ain't, he's not one of the top small forwards in the game. I'm sorry. And they overinflate these players, and instead of overinflating them, come up with a better scale that you could rework the ratings to make it more play to the game engine, and then the tendencies to coincide with that. To if a guy is basically, didn't do much the previous season, but this year he stepped up and he's averaging over 20 points a game, then have that happen. If a guy like Carmelo Anthony's an ISO player, then that's strictly what he should jab step and then take a shot, not pump fake or hold the ball for 15 seconds and then dribble around and get to the drive to the basket. That's not what Carmelo does. And, if they spent more time with the tendencies and just really broke that code engine down and rebuilt it back up, I think that would solve a lot of the issues. Now, the transition defense and speed and all that stuff, they're going to have to rework the coding out. That's not going to happen in a year. But the tendencies have been so bad for so long, they should have had that worked out by now. So I'm hopeful. That's my main wish list for 2K17. Fix that and the rebounding.
I gotta ask you a question though. This is my thing. Speed has been an issue for a long time, and this is even the first year we talked about speed and rebounding. This is like
Right.
every year thing. We keep talking about this.
Right.
Why haven't they fixed that? Like, it's to the point now I'm starting to believe that maybe they can't fix it.
I'm thinking they may have to go back and, I hate to say this, but waste a development year and really look for 2 years ahead. Like, kind of work on a fix that might break something else for 17, but really work to have everything fixed for 18.
I just don't understand. Like, man, like they have a lot of modes, and it's like they cater. Like I said, it's to the point now, man. They're not catering to, and it's not about catering to just the sim nation. It's about catering to what's just real basketball.
Right.
That's all I'm saying. Make it not just look like the NBA, but make them do stuff that they would actually do, like in the NBA. But what I'm seeing they're doing is they're catering to these my team dudes, man. They catering to these my park players. It's starting to get way out of hand. They're turning the basketball game into arcade basketball. It's just
right.
Just the way.
I don't know that this. Oh, go ahead.
I say I'm just tired of people like when I look at some of the blogs, they're like, "Hey, we got locker codes," and then a guy tweeted to LD2K and he says you should not tweet about locker codes when the game needs fixing. And I'm talking about the whole timeline jumped on this guy and said, "Dude, shut up. We want locker codes." I'm like, really? You don't want the game fixed, but you want Amethyst Kobe and Ruby LeBron. Like,
you know why? So that way they can get those cards and dominate the game by using exploits. They don't want it fixed because then they can't win.
Right.
Because they will lose then. If they go online with their my team and they got all this cheat, these then they'll just win and dominate the game. Of course they don't want the gameplay fixed. It helps them win games.
Yeah,
Orlando Hill saying that the tendencies might be overwritten with the difficulty and play style of the games. And then Los X23 is saying he's using Giannis Antetokounmpo as an example. He says that basically as a 50 in Euro step tendencies and doesn't have the King of Euros equipped. The thing that bothers me with that statement is that, yes, he's right about the Euro step tendency being lower, But I think even with a higher tendency, it's not going to make a difference because of the coding. Now, the King of Euros being equipped as a badge is what I have a problem with. 2K is focused so much on the badge system, and that's being your differential of which players can, really kind of electrify on offense or defense or whatever the case may be, when they could break it down code-wise and have these players play at a better tendency rate or rating, so to speak, on different areas. If you have, Steph Curry and he's a good dribbler, but he's not a, kill you with, one-step dribble and gets to the hole, then have him have a combination of dribbles but not the ability to drive past you on one step. Now, what Russell Westbrook is a different story. If you have a player that's a, post-up guard, then like a Sean Livingston, every single time he gets the ball, he should be pretty much trying to get in the mid-post or low-post area and take that size advantage. Those are the differentials that we should see. If you have a Kristaps Porzingis, for example, he should be hanging out more towards the perimeter mid-post area rather than down in the low post, but because of the coding, he's strictly down in the low post. Players that switched out, their playing style, like a Chris Humphries, went to the Hawks game last week, and Chris Humphries is hanging out at the three-point line in the corner. He should be doing that in the game. As the year goes by and you see players are switching their tendency rates, those should be rewritten along with what you're seeing. If you're changing ace updates for what's on defense or changing the play calls, and the plays on offense, then those things should be changed.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I mean, that's just kind of my biggest thing is the tendencies. If they can get that fixed, I think it'll fix a fair amount of the players and how they play. But I think speed and rebounding is a very close. Actually, it's right there with the tendencies. Those three things would be the biggest: speed, rebounding, and tendencies. I'm going to buy 2K17 just because I buy it every year. Basically, it's like an early Christmas for me. But if they keep going the way they're going, Live is going to have to capitalize on that. They've got to take a step forward. You can't have a game that has so many flaws as they have and think you're going to succeed. Basically, each year it's kind of been on the chopping block, and they have to take a big step forward this year to compete. If they can do that, 2K is going to have a little bit of trouble.
And I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to tell you what NBA relies on. It's post animations, making it not so easy to score in the paint. It's not even a graphical thing. It's like little stuff. They have ball tangibility in the game. They got to be able to call more fouls. There's a lot of simple things in the game that NBA Live can actually become a lot better. That actually can make the game compete with 2K. Like speed. Live doesn't have a problem with speed. Russell Westbrook is not going to be caught by Roy Hibbert on the fast break. It's not going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
On 2K running with Russell Westbrook, Roy Hibbert will sprint down there, hold you back, and get in front of you and block the shot. It's just Live doesn't have those issues. So if they just slow down all the arcadiness, like just limiting guys, giving more contact in the paint, make guys miss more shots when you have a lot of defenders in the painted area. You know what I'm saying? Like things like that. The dribbling is fine. I like the dribble. The dribbling is fine. Fast breaks actually work in NBA Live. Speed matters. The rebounding works. So they have a lot of things in place that can make it competitive. I mean, they made the plays a lot better. One thing that really put NBA Live over the top, if they were smart, and shout out to the NBA Live Veterans Committee, and shout out to Prime 76, and shout out to G-Rob Game. One thing that make NBA Live put them right over the top, and at least draw some of the people over to them, is make the rosters customizable.
Absolutely.
Get rid of that old synergy update only. Look, if they put a headband on tonight, you'll put it on tomorrow. Look, let me put a headband on when the hell I want to.
They don't even do that because their updates only come out like once every couple weeks.
Once every month.
Yeah.
Last year it was once every month, every 2 months. So
yeah,
it's just they gotta put the ability to customize the roster back into the user's hands. But that's one thing that keeps 2K relevant too. To be able to customize their rosters and fix the problems that 2K is not fixing. People have a little bit of ability to change the way the game plays a little bit by being able to customize the rosters. So please bring roster customization back, please. I don't care about nothing about NBA Live's Pro Am. I don't care nothing about playing at Venice Beach. I don't care about none of that. I don't care about no live Ultimate Team. Fix. Same thing I tell 2K. Same message. Fix the damn game. Period.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, guys, I think that kind of wraps up our main topics that we were going to cover. Basically, I'm going to give you guys the floor. If there's anything you want to shout out, anything you want to bring up that we haven't talked about, now's your chance. Gonzo, do you want to go ahead first? Anything you want to shout out or anything you want to bring up we haven't talked about?
Yeah, shout out to Online Nation Gaming, Loose Bass 57. Shout out to NYC The Future, man. Shout out to Gideon Prime Truth Chasers. Shout out to D Smitty. Just shout out to everybody in Sim Nation, man. Shout out to you guys for having me on to the show, man. I appreciate coming on Hardwood Hoops, man. We actually have some really, really good topics, man. I appreciate it. Shout out to G-Rob Gaming, NBA Live Veterans Committee, Ryan Parks, Prime 76, man. Who else? Who else am I missing? Anybody who I'm missing, please forgive me. Or don't charge to my heart, charge to my head. Shout out to Sim Hangout is back on now, man. Hey, look, hey, like I said, man, the main thing is, man, we gotta, and I encourage that, like I said, with all the Sim Nation shows and everything, I encourage, man, look, no matter how much we fans of the game, point out those flaws, man, because we gotta get heard some way. I'm gonna tell you something right now. Going on blogs ain't gonna help if I go on a blog by myself and say anything because we're outnumbered with clowns who play arcade basketball. They're not gonna read. They're not paying us any attention when we go on blogs and when we say stuff on Twitter because we got a million people above that asking for locker codes and when are they gonna add a new court to the park and all this crazy stuff. So the only way we can really get our point across is if they see us live on video doing these live shows and they hear these comments like, wow, these people are going live saying this. Think about how many other people will be watching this, how many times we retweet it, and how much this will go viral quicker than any Twitter message, and this will go viral quicker than any blog page. We gotta point out those flaws. I'm tired of people giving all this credit to 2K. I'm tired of people giving all the credit to how live Pro-Am mode is so fun. Look, start pointing out the flaws in the game because you only get better by pointing out the mistakes. We can praise all the good stuff, but that ain't gonna make the game no better. You know what happened? We praise all the good stuff, and we had the same copy and paste next year.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's all.
Okay. What you got, me?
Hey, I'm gonna keep it short. I know he couldn't make it tonight, but I want to give a shout out to Byron. And then, of course, like Gonzo said, shout out to Big Czar. It's good to have the Hangout back because we missed it. He was gone for a while, so it's good to have that back. Shout out to all the Sim Nation. You know, I've even got a couple people that little thing I made on that post I made on Twitter with the screenshot of the one game. I had a couple people go at me. You should have made the free throws. So it's good to have the feedback. It's good to have the feedback from everybody.
Okay. Okay. Well, first things first, I want to shout out Sim Nation and, of course, Big Czar, Big Mama, Nelson Blake II, a.k.a. Books Nelson, Kushmir, all the guys that, basically founded the Sim Hangout and the reason why we're here. But we're all one nation. Like you said, Gonzo, we've all got to step up and bring constructive criticism. That doesn't mean constructive criticism brings hate. It's realism that's going to make the game that much better. And we're the minority, so to speak, that want sim basketball, and we've got to overtake those Arcade Nation players. So also want to shout out the chat room for this evening. got Los X23, Orlando Till, Julian Lamenzo 94, Alex Campbell, and we've also got a new user, Flair. So shout out to all of you. Of course, shout out to a couple guys we normally have on. Sam I Am, shout out to you. Gonzo, thanks again, man, for being on here. Always a pleasure, man. Lance Roberson, who we haven't had on in a couple weeks because he's got his work schedule. Byron, thanks for being on last week again. Want to get you back on. And want to give a special shout out to somebody that we haven't been able to get on because she's kind of been fighting a eye infection and then she's been sick beyond that. But Cheryl Loves Zivy, want to give her a shout out because she's a big Warriors fan. Been trying to get her on for the last couple weeks in a row, but she's been, like I said, fighting a little bit of an illness. And shout out to her. Just get back healthy so we can get you on the show. And prayers go out to you for a full recovery. So, basically that's it for me. And we'll keep this going week by week and together with this show and the Sim Hangout, hopefully bring attention to all basketball fans, all around the world and YouTubers and everything. We'll try to touch on a wide array of topics. So if you guys have any topics you want us to cover, kind of in the comment section on YouTube or on Twitter, you can hit all of us up. I put everybody's Twitter handle in the description link on YouTube. So hit us up and let us know what you want to see, what we can improve on, what we do well, because, we want to take all that feedback and make the show that much better for you. So until next week, got my man DJ Gonzo Star, my man Meek Mill, 1981, and I'm the host, Pete Toll. Thanks for checking us out, and we'll see you next week.